welcome back to the YouTube channel, and today we are going through a full day of eating on 2,100 calories. I'm 11 weeks out from my first bodybuilding show. Just had my morning supplementation. Always hydrate before you caffeinate. Currently running low on my supplements, but I have a hydration powder, creatine, so CMP hydration, Perform Whey creatine, and then for my supplementation at the moment I'm taking multivits, omega-3s and vitamin D K2, but once every 3 days, kind of every other day, so Monday, Wednesday, Friday, because the dosage is quite strong and I don't want any after effects. So took some of that today with my morning hydration, although I ran out of creatine, so my gainage is going to be wasted. But what I'm currently trying as well at the moment with my hydration is not to have a coffee straight after. I always find that I have my hydration in the morning, I feel really hydrated, ready to hit the day, and then I have my black coffee because obviously I'm on prep, and my mouth then feels like drier than a nun's chuff for the rest of the day. So far my mouth feels fine, so let's see how that goes. I'll have my first sort of caffeine after my first couple of clients. I had 2 clients this morning, James and Mike. I'll probably get James a session film because Mike's very, very new to the gym, but he's absolutely smashing it. So far he is training for the Plymouth Half Marathon, and we're also obviously looking to reduce his blood pressure and lose some weight, whereas James is in a dieting phase at the moment, quite an aggressive one. We haven't done this before with himself, so we're taking it each day as it comes, constant feedback from him to make sure that he is smashing it. And then I'll take you through my meal 1, meal 2, my full day and the rest of the day, so enjoy. Elbows to squeeze together here, that's it. Yeah, try and tuck them around and touch on each other. That's it. Let your shoulders wrap around the bench as you come down. That's James's session done. Absolutely smashing his extreme row. Really like the machine that we have here at the moment. So the machine that we used was a leg extension, lying leg curl, chest press, and an extreme row. So it's basically mimicking what a prime row would feel like. However, you just can't manipulate the loading. So on a prime row or extreme row, you can manipulate the loads depending on what peg you put it on. So you can put more weight in the length range, more length in the short range or the mid range. Unfortunately with ours, it's just heavy in that mid range, mid to short range. So we would really maximize the time in that top position, getting that pause and squeezing the elbows back. So like I said earlier, James is moving into a dieting phase, an aggressive dieting phase at the moment. So he's on 1,500-ish calories at the moment, so very, very low for himself. So he's probably gonna find that his energy will start to get lower and lower, but that's the part and parcel. Like when you're going for a dieting phase, similar to myself, energy is likely to get lower because your muscle glycogen is getting less, your carbohydrates are getting less. He's only on about 120 grams of carbs a day. So we're really trying to maximize it around his training window, either before, after, or both before and after. So at the moment, he's running a fasting state training session in the morning. He'll then have his first meal, which is his first carb meal, which will be about 12. Then his next meal will be then his dinner. And then he'll have his normal breakfast at dessert, which will be like a yogurt with frozen fruit to give him that little bit of sweet kick because he gets a bit of a sweet tooth in the evenings. So I'm about to tuck into meal 1. So when it comes to my food at the moment, I am running most of my carbs around my training. But the reason why I don't have carbs in the morning, and I've said it in multiple vlogs before, is I find my energy can stay really consistent. Like I'm about to go into a bit of work, so I want to have a clear amount of focus going into this. And when you're in a deficit, you want to maximize your performance in the gym because you do not want to lose muscle that you've built in your growth phase. So I want to make sure that I'm over fueling myself in my sessions. So I have a carb meal before, a carb meal after to maximize performance and recovery post-training. So meal 1 at the moment is 6 egg whites, seasoned to the max. So I've got paprika, I've got parsley, I've got cumin, and a bit of black pepper. Chopped up some mushrooms, so fry that first with the mushrooms in the pan. 35 grams of cheese, 9 slices of ham. I know it's really specific, but that's what you have to do when you're tracking your calories. Some spinach, and then I also then have about 100 grams of lettuce in here as well. So this will then basically now tie me over until about 12 o'clock where I have my pre-workout meal. And I would normally have like sauces and things like that, but when you season your food, it makes makes life so much better. Like, I've tried it before when I've done diets and gains and stuff in the past with that, when I wasn't necessarily taking it seriously enough, and I didn't put any seasonings on my food. I would have like chicken, rice, broccoli, the bog standard bodybuilding meals, and it would taste so bad, like really dry and bland and hard to stick to. And I'm a massive fan of repeatable meals, and this is something you'll notice over future vlogs as well. I generally eat the same things every single day, mainly because it keeps my life easy. I don't have to think about things. I can just eat and do, crack on work, go to the gym, and reap the rewards and the results because of it. But when you're then trying to change your meals up all the time as well, it makes it too difficult to kind of remember what you're doing, too difficult to track your calories ahead of time and things like that. So I always have, going back to kind of the structure of my meals, fats in the morning, high fat meal with protein, because fats are a slow digesting energy source, which will keep my energy consistent throughout the rest of the day. So I'm going to tuck into this and then crack on with a bit of content writing, going into why you should be tracking your calories ahead of time and some other stuff from my YouTube. And then I've got mic in, and then it's heading to the gym for pool day, which I'll take you through a couple of clips and some advice on setting up your training. So keep that pressure on the inside of the foot. Perfect, and come up, that's it. So make sure we're squeezing from those glutes, so you're coming down, and we're squeezing from here, driving forwards, upwards, rather than kind of standing there and going, yeah? Good, perfect. Good. And that's Mike's session done. This is why I'm different to most other online coaches and trainers. Very few will do assessments with clients. I see it all the time. You inquire with a coach, you get given a program, and that's it. No extra help with it, no notes for the exercises, no videos of the exercises, not even doing an assessment to see if someone's got an available range of motion for that given exercise. When Mike first came into me, he came in for an assessment. We did some movement screening, and we found out he had more range of motion in one hamstring than the other. He also wants to improve his running as well as losing weight. So going into his programming, we programmed a B stance deadlift specifically to help lengthen the hamstring that's a little bit tighter than the other, because that's also going to impact his running. It's going to heighten the risk of injury, especially in that tight hamstring. So at the moment, we're really working on those exercises to lengthen that hamstring, and it's placed the second session of his week. He does 2 back-to-back days. One is a lying hamstring curl and the other is the B stance. Lengthen range exercises cause more muscle damage than a short range. So he's got his most intense run at the start of the week, interval training. Then he's got a session with me, another session with me, and then his other 2 runs are more low, steady state training. So continual heart rate for the whole 30 minutes of running, whereas his other ones are more intervals. So the recovery demand is going to be a little bit less on those than it would be for the higher intense run. So we're keeping that as far away as possible from his training sessions, which then also means that by the time he's recovered from that run, he's then fresh for both those sessions, especially the deadlift session. He's only just started, but we're already progressing up in weights. He's week 3 in, and he's at 10 kilos now. So we're going to keep progressing this as far as we can go, and then to keep the exercise in for longer, we'll then add 2 dumbbells, and then we'll move on to a deadlift with a trap bar, or a deadlift with a bar, or hip extensions, for example. And we'll just keep going with that and progressing it over time. So about to tuck into my meal 2 now, which is absolutely one of my favorite meals of the day. We've got 500 grams of Greek yogurt, 1 whole apple, 50 grams of frozen mango. Trick with this, leave it in the fridge overnight. Make it the night before, leave it in the fridge, and the mango will melt onto the yogurt, because there's nothing worse than having plain yogurt, because it tastes like baby sick and it's gross. And then a shit ton of cinnamon. I literally live on cinnamon. I buy like probably 2 jars worth of it every time I go for a food shop, so I go for it that quick. Same with eggs, like 6 egg whites is a lot to go through. And what I found as well with the egg whites, if you're buying the liquid ones, I find they taste very artificial, which is why I never buy them. Even though they probably are more cost effective and I waste less egg yolks because of it, I have the world's smelliest farts if I have liquid egg whites, which is why I do not have them anymore. So I always go for splitting my carbs when I'm dieting for pre and post workout. Now normally I favor more carbs after I train than I do before, but because my carbs have recently just changed now, I've now split it. So I've about just over 100 grams in this meal and just under 100 grams in my second meal. So it's pretty even split. And then the rest of the day is then no carbs, obviously protein, fats in the morning, and then the rest we'll find out later. But this just means I'm going to be filling my glycogen stores up now. By the time I walk to Starbucks to get my pre-workout, which is going to be a black coffee with 2 pumps of vanilla syrup, which I'll show you, it should have stored in my muscles ready to go, and I should then be able to attack deadlifts and maintain my numbers on the lifts. So I'll tuck into this and I'll take you along for the ride for the rest of the day. Americano acquired, and for once they actually spelt my name right for once, because I remember the last vlog they got my drink wrong and they spelt it wrong as well. But actually went for a hot one today because I'm fucking freezing. Although the sun's out, it's bloody Baltic outside, and it might be because I'm dieting, I'm on prep, I know, but yeah, it's definitely colder. So when it comes to timing your caffeine, always have it like 30 to 45 minutes before. So I know I've got deadlifts on my first exercise of the session. I've got a reverse crunch first. So I want this to kick in the moment a deadlift starts. So I'm having it now as I'm walking down to the gym. So by the time I get to the gym, it's going to be ready and to use, going to be wired, and I'm going to be hitting some extra PBs hopefully today. I finished quite strong, timed my nutrition perfectly, and this is the thing, sometimes when your performance goes in the gym, in a diet, don't just assume that you're losing muscle or losing strength. Look at the external picture of like, what was your sleep like? What was your nutritional timing like? What did you have before you go to the gym? Do you have something different than you normally would? These things all come into play when it comes to training performance. So timing them and routinely timing them every single session, every single week really makes a difference to managing your performance during prep, during diets, so that you can retain as much muscle as possible. So like I said earlier, kicking off today's session with a reverse crunch. Now this is heavy, quite challenging in the length and range. And like I said earlier in the vlog, length and range work causes the most muscle damage. And it's, for me, it's easier to have this at the start of the week. So put it at the start for extra ab volume, but also to prepare my core for my heavy deadlifts, to improve my intra-abdominal pressure, increasing the blood flow to that area. So it makes it easier for me to feel my core when I'm contracting it during the deadlifts. Now, just finished my warm-up set 120, which was 3 reps at 120 kilos, prepare me for my 140 kilo deadlift. Now, when it comes to your warm-up sets, stagger your warm-ups. Don't just do one set of the bar or the machine and do 1,000 reps. Pointless, really pointless. You're not really treating your warm sets properly. When it comes to your warm sets, it's all about preparing you for what's about to come. Treating every warm-up set like you're working weight. So what I tend to do for myself is start off with 80 kilos. I do 5 to 6 reps. Then I go up to 100, 120, and I do 3 to 5 reps. And then my last warm-up set is 130 kilos, and that'll be for either 1 or 2 reps. Sometimes I'll take an extra warm-up set if I'm not really feeling it on the day, or I felt something go a little bit off in my warm-up sets. I'll take an extra warm-up to make sure I'm really ready, raring to go. So I'm going to jump into this warm-up set now. Hopefully I beat 7 reps. Got 7 last week and a 6 on my second set. So let's see how it goes. No reps were beaten during my deadlifts, unfortunately, but I did hold my reps, which is what it's all about. I'd rather hold reps than drop them. I would like, obviously, to beat them. But the gym got hectic, so only a voiceover for the rest of this. But one quick tip with your pulling work is if you're doing a lat pull down, it's okay to let your shoulder elevate, but not to the point where you then internally rotate your arm at the top. This then takes it off your lats and brings it more onto your triceps. So make sure when you are stretching, you're still keeping that tension on your lat throughout the whole exercise. Moving into very quick physique update. 11 weeks out, sitting at about 65 kilos at the moment, and seeing nude lines every single week, which is great. Leanness is coming in, the Christmas tree on the back is coming in. I really struggle with my rotation on my left side, so rotating right to the camera but standing on my left. So it's something I'm going to be working on over the next coming weeks, but also posing without a mirror, so I'm going off feeling rather than look. And we are back for post-workout, meal 3 of the day, and one of, well, probably actually my favourite meal of the day, creme de oats. I don't know if anyone else is making this at the moment, but it's half oats, half cream of rice. 60 grams of oats, 60 grams of cream of rice, 60 grams of whey, and 90 grams of berries. Now, typically, this would be a meal that has lower fats in it for me, mainly because fats slow down the digestion of carbohydrates, and having just trained and broken down my glycogen from the previous meal that was stored before the session, I now want to replenish these as quick as possible. So I've got a mixture of cream of rice and oats. So cream of rice is the fast acting carb and the slow acting carb is oats. And the reason why I've done a split is because as men, we need to get around 30 grams of fiber in a day. So it's just a way of getting extra fiber in. So I'll essentially switch these meals around and have this pre-workout as well as post-workout. But I like this post-workout because of how fucking insane it is. Now I make this the night before, leave it in the fridge overnight. So it's kind of like an overnight oats, and it tastes so much better cold. It takes a little bit longer to eat because also I have a baby spoon to eat it with. Top tip, like I said in the last vlog with prep, like to make your food last longer, use spoons rather than forks or big spoons. Small spoons are for the win. Now I'm going to get this down me, and then I've got 2 clients this evening before an absolute banging dinner, and I cannot wait to show you what that is. But if you've enjoyed today's video so far, make sure you hit that subscribe button and drop me a comment below if you'd like any more advice on nutrition or setting up your macros for your diets or gains. And just like that, we are back after James' session. I only have 1 client this evening because the other client was ill and couldn't make it, unfortunately. So hopefully he is all good for next week. But James is working on his leg extensions. We set it up on a cable machine, mainly because it offers a little bit more of a different loading pattern. So with our leg extension, at the moment, it's very, very heavy at the top, which is where he struggles to lock out and gets a bit of knee pain. So attaching some cuffs to a cable machine means it's going to be heavier in the stretch, which is how it should be anyway, because we're stronger in that position and weaker at the top. And as he comes over, that cable then hits the top of the bench, takes the weight completely off the top of the rep, which means he can then complete the full rep with no pain. So we're doing about 20 kilos on that at the moment, so only 2 sets, and we'll gradually build it up over time and help with his knee pain. So currently going to be having meal 5 now, which is my last meal of the day, salmon and vegetables. This is probably one of my favorite meals at the moment. Don't really have much fish in my diet, but when I do have it, I really enjoy it. So I've seasoned it with paprika, parsley, cumin, black pepper, garlic granules. So it's going to be an absolute banging dinner. Calories are on the screen. I hope you enjoyed today's video. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and follow along my journey to stage. I have 11 weeks to go and I'm absolutely buzzing to showcase my final physique.